Hello, everyone, and welcome to Stash Chats. We've got a 2-for-1 today, as I'm joined by the girls behind Mimiquins, the custom dress form company. So I'm really excited to hear more about their business, but also about their personal sewing journeys and their sewing stashes as well. So please do ask your questions in the chat and leave us a comment so that we know that you're joining us live here. So hello, welcome to Stash Chats. Do you want to just start off by introducing yourselves and giving us a little background to your own sewing journeys?
Yes. So Heide and I met about 5 years ago, maybe 6. I don't know, it's got to be thereabouts. And that's when we started like our sewing journey together. I've been sewing since I was a little girl, pretty much. It's always been a background, even before you learn how to sew yourself. My grandmother sewed. There was always people and machines and little dresses getting made. So I was always aware of it. It was always something I wanted to do. And then I just picked up the sewing machine and went for it, really. Destroyed several bed sheets that my mum wishes I hadn't. They still exist in the house. They have little Barbie-sized T-shirts cut out of the corners because I wasn't aware that the sheets were there for repair. So they were, as far as I was concerned, it was fabric and I could do with them what I wished.
So technically they're still there for repair. They just need a bit of extra repairing now.
Yes, yeah, and the duvet cover thing is still in use in my mum's house. It has this gorgeous like maroon and gold design that I vividly remember cutting into. No fear, even then, using scissors. But yeah, so I just I've always sewn. At university, I did biochemistry though, which is a bit of a departure from sewing, but always kind of kept it going in the background because I loved it. And then, yeah, worked a bit on sewing after biochemistry and then met Heide and, yeah, kind of stopped sewing because we've been a bit too busy to sew. So my stash is fairly fossilized at the moment, even though it's quite big. It hasn't seen much action recently. But yeah, so that's kind of my journey.
Awesome.
Well, my sewing journey basically started when I met Mia and I lost, all. I wasn't scared anymore, but I have never been really interested in doing it. I wasn't, I didn't have anything to do with the field actually, but yeah, I met Mia and Mia actually creates like the most amazing dresses. She's been also making custom made dresses for many clients over the years anyways. And then one of my daughters, mainly the little one, is highly sensitive to anything that has to do with tactile. So school uniforms or anything she's wearing, there's always an issue with that. It's either the texture or the shape or anything. So that made me having to learn to sew and make her things and tweak things and create new dresses. Even uniforms have to be very creative as well for her. And with the help of Mia, I started my journey. I'm still learning, and I mainly make things for them and with them. And now it's something fun as opposed to just a need. And I'm very involved in the field now, so obviously I'm very interested and I'm loving it. And I have Mia next to me, so like she teaches me anything I need to know. Like I don't have to be making the mistakes that anyone would have to figure out, like how to overcome. I have Mia, who's an expert, which is wonderful. And now we have our own Mimiquins, our own. So it's even more wonderful because it's the best tool you can have next to good company and a good sewing machine.
Amazing. So how did you and Mia first meet then?
I'll let you take this because you say it so well.
So we just moved in the UK 6 years ago, more or less. And I just met someone in the play park with my kids. I was lonely. I didn't know anyone. And she decided to invite me to do something very British, which was going to a pub on a Wednesday night I was dying. I had 2 babies. I was dying. I didn't want to go out, but I was so desperate to meet someone. So she took me to pub quiz, which I found very new and different. And then
they're not they're
and then she
really
said, and then this girl said we could barely talk because when I started talking, everyone was like, shh. So I didn't understand the thing. And she said, you see that girl over there? She has pink hair. She's Spanish. She's half Spanish. And I'm like, no, she's not. Let me introduce you to her. And then we started talking. And since then, we've been seeing each other every week. And from the very beginning, we knew we wanted to do something together. We weren't sure what, but we did want to do something together. And that's how Mimiquins was born. And it's been amazing.
Awesome. I think it's a good opportunity to introduce Mimiquins for anyone who's listening that hasn't heard of your company before.
Yeah, so we're a company that specializes in making custom mannequins from 3D scans of your body. So we take a 3D scan and then we ultimately turn it into a full mannequin that is sustainably made out of cardboard and completely pinnable. It's cardboard is so a traditional mannequin would be made out of papier-mâché shell. So it's the same materials, but because it's the same materials, you can treat it the same way. You can iron on it, steam on it. But because it doesn't have a hard, crunchy shell, you can pin into it and you can pin all the way through. So it's quite easy or quite useful for pattern alteration and draping. So you can really get in there, pin something on, and then manipulate it and drape on the stand.
Yeah, so this one here, your glamorous assistant, is actually your body double, isn't it?
Yes, this one's my body double. She comes to all our events. She's been manhandled by a lot of people. Is several years old now, so slightly different model to what we do currently. You know, we make them, they have slightly shorter legs so that when you put them on a table, they're really nice and stable because they're cut at a higher section of the thigh. But yes, she's still going strong. And yeah, they have like a little jersey on them, so it means that they have a lot more definition. So like, I don't know, I'm going to move that briefly because we have the production line, or at least 3 examples behind. So yeah, this is what they look like underneath. They have a huge amount of definition, and yeah, you can they're just people, because you can't really get mannequins that look like this.
Yeah, so I had a question. I had a question from Natalie saying, is it worth getting a custom made mannequin? So do you want to just tell us like the advantage of having one like custom to your body rather than like a generic one?
Is the posture because a generic one, we own, between Jaire and myself, we own about 8 different mannequins. All sorts of different adjustable ones, standard, Kenton, Lindsell, Stockman, all sorts. And I ordered one that was exactly my measurements, bust, waist, and hips. And I've never been able to use it because the distribution is so different to my size. That, you know, I go with my butt, I go out at the back, and the mannequin goes out at the sides. And unless I take a hammer to it, there's nothing that I can do that will actually make that look like me. And the same with the posture of the neck and stuff like that. So your clothes are just going to hang better on you if you make them for you and on you.
Because, for example, for me, I think I've got quite a curved back. So I feel like on a sort of standard mannequin, I wouldn't get that shape. And so then I would do the fitting and then I'd realize, oh, well, I should have done a sway back adjustment. And it's just, I may as well have just tried to fit it on myself. But it's quite difficult to do it on your own, isn't it?
Yeah. And your posture will change as you try and fit. You're then not fit. You're fitting for like a hunched posture rather than
twisted around.
You got to have a really well-trained partner.
Yeah, Lauren said it's transformed her fitting because it's got the sway back on the mannequin now.
Yeah, that's right. She has her own mimicking, and it's very, very defined. It looks gorgeous. I think it's on our Instagram. So if anyone is interested in seeing Lauren and her mimicking,
yeah, she has very defined collarbones, and we also keep that on the mannequin because sometimes you want to use that as a guide for your neckline, and your collarbones will never change, even though you might lose or gain a bit of weight. That's normally dealt with like fitting ease of a garment, so you can gain or lose, and the mannequin will still see you through it.
Amazing.
That's right. I mean, everyone fluctuates throughout the day, the week, the month, the season, but as long as your structure, posture is stable, and you more or less have the same size, which most people fluctuate between 1 or 2 sizes, like that is fine, then you can have your mimicking and make the best use of it. Absolutely.
Amazing. So Peter says, I saw you scanning and making mannequins or dress forms of real people. So do you want to tell us about like the scanning process?
Yeah, shall I take that? It's super fast. It takes us about a minute. So there's no kind of holding your breath while we scan you. Basically, you'll stand in the middle of the space that we pick. We have poles that allow people to rest their arms so that they can raise the arm slightly, so we get a really clear access to the arm side so that fit can be as close as possible. And just the poles are there so people can rest their arms on it and not raise the shoulders and like alter that aspect of their posture. And yeah, it's basically a case of coaching people through how to stand, making sure they are just as balanced as possible without affecting their true posture. Everyone's twisted, everyone has one shoulder higher than the other, and we're not going to sit there and push you and make you stand in an unnatural way, but we also want it to be your truest, best self. So we like to imagine that, if you've gone to a nice fancy wedding and you're sitting there having a canapé and some fizz, and the photographer turns to you in your magnificent dress and goes, may I have a picture? That kind of the way you would stand, the way you would hold yourself, elevate, neck up, that is what we want people to be feeling when they get their scan. We want people to be their most kind of confident, upright self. And then that's what we take through.
That is I'm sorry, the connection breaks a little bit at my end, so I'm not very sure when you stop talking or not.
Okay.
That's why.
Yeah. But yes,
no,
and then
go ahead.
No, as Mia was saying, because the scan itself takes just less than a minute, and we know when what we are doing, we help with the posture between the both of us, get the best version of your posture, because it takes just 1 minute and then a couple of minutes to process it. We show the person being scanned there and then what their mimicking is going to look like. What is that we are taking? What is the posture? What is that maybe we can improve? Normally, we don't need to take more than 1 scan in the same session because we know what we're doing, we know what we're looking at. But it is possible to take several and then get the one that you like the most. Also, then we take it away and process it a little bit more, like in a more elaborated way, share it again with a person, give them the perfectly horizontal computer taking measurements. And at all times, the client is seeing the whole process. What is happening? They can make their own decisions. We can smooth things out. We can add things. We can remove things just for aesthetic purposes or just because of your needs. It might be that you want them specifically to make lingerie, for example. Therefore, if you're waiting the bra to be scanned, we are able to remove that layer of bra so that when you make your own bras, it is for your shape and measurements. Also, for example, depending on what shoes they are wearing, the posture is going to change as well. So if you're wearing stilettos, you're going to have a little bit more of like different posture as opposed to being barefoot. So all those things we take into account and we guide the person through it.
So have you found as well, it's just like a sort of practical process. It can be like an emotional journey as well for the people who get their Mimiquins made.
Yeah,
100%.
it's like therapy. Yeah, it's people are forming a new connection with their bodies. A lot of the time you don't see your body as maybe being the vehicle that takes you through life. You kind of judge yourself on lots of aspects that serve no purpose whatsoever, and having a mannequin made that is exactly you, it kind of puts it a bit in perspective. You know, it becomes this wonderful tool that is helping you, and because you are then the fitting is easier and it looks better, so your clothes are going to suit you more and you're going to feel better about it that way as well. It's kind of like not the opposite of a vicious cycle. The more you do with it, the better you kind of feel about using it, because it's you and it's helping you. It can be difficult and a little confrontational at first. Personally, when I made my mannequin, she lived in a sundress for a while, or like a robe or something, because you know it's your body. It's a bit weird. But then the more you use it, suddenly it's not you anymore. Suddenly it's useful.
Yeah.
And that's when
now she's been all over the country as well. Everyone's seen her. You've got nothing to hide.
Not everyone is like that. Jaire was obsessed with hers. I needed to warm up to mine, but I don't have the confidence Jaire has. So
I was delighted when I saw it. I was like, I love it. I didn't know I looked so hot. Which I didn't see myself like that, but I did love my mannequin and I love it. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Yeah.
So we've got another question from Peter about, have you ever done a mannequin for someone with a disability, and how does that work?
Yes, actually we have, and we have just made, well, we are actually making the first seated mannequin with the Willis teacher, Yvonne. I don't know whether she's there somewhere because I cannot see who is joining in through this platform. She's also our new brand ambassador. But yes, so she's in a wheelchair. And Mia, I let you take this one because probably you can explain how we have managed to develop this, because it was something that she approached us. Mia always wanted from the beginning make a seated mannequin, and it took us a few years to develop a non-seated mannequin, which was hard enough. And I agreed with her in the sense of one day we will do it, but right now, maybe we don't have the time or the knowledge to be able to develop this because it's a completely different thing. But Yvonne, the Willis teacher, she approached us and said, can you make it? And then we said, well, if you want to be on this journey with us, we might as well, try and give it a go, but we cannot promise you anything. And she basically said, just if you try, I'm going to be so happy. Even if you're not able to make it, I will be so happy. I will be disappointed if it doesn't happen, but I will understand. And then we said, okay, let's do it. So we started developing it and we got it. And then Mia, I let you explain how we managed to.
Yeah, I mean, Yvonne has been wonderful at every stage. Like Jaire says, it's always been something that has been on our list of things to tackle. My grandmother only has one leg. She is in a wheelchair and she used to sew. So it's something that I've always thought about because it was never available for her. Hola, yeah. she won't be watching this, but so we wanted to do something, and basically just put our heads together and thought, what is it we think we can offer? And then spoke to Yvonne after we scanned her, and the scanning process was pretty much as simple as a normal scan. You know, the time is the same. You walk around someone, it takes 1 minute, and we scan them, with additional steps to incorporate her wheelchair. So she was able to allow us to scan her wheelchair without her in it, and we were able to scan her seated on a chair that was not her wheelchair, so that we had access all the way around her. And then using that, we were able to design the mannequin so that it virtually, we can slot the mannequin into the wheelchair. We know it's going to fit. So we know that she can then lift and place that mannequin into the wheelchair and test her designs out. And then when she's done with that, put it on the table or on a stand and work on it that way. So yeah, I mean, Yvonne's been amazing. Coming on the journey with us, because like Jaire said, we didn't 100% know, and we're just so pleased. It's currently still in digital processing, but we'll be cutting it tomorrow, next week. Like it's getting really close. It's getting to the exciting bit where it will suddenly become a reality, and at that point I think we're just going to feel like midwives sending ultrasounds by email, just letting her know the progress and just being like, it's this big now, it's this big now.
Amazing.
I think
So,
once
yeah.
we started and once we met her, we couldn't not make it happen just because of her personality.
Her energy is amazing.
And we're like, okay, fine, good challenge, incredible person, we need to make it happen. And actually we are doing it at the same price as an unseated one, because there's no reason why we should be punishing, even if it's a business and we need to live out of our business. We found that we cannot punish a disabled person, a person with a disability.
You know, there's so many different ways that financially it's just harder. You have to pay for different things. And she was telling us that a friend of hers had asked for a quote from a company for a seated wheelchair, and the price they had quoted was astronomical. And at least for us, for our process, because we do everything ourselves and because of the way we do things, it's not difficult. Like, it's not hard to incorporate this. So why wouldn't we?
It does take longer, and it has more steps. It's a little bit more complex, but it's not really gonna make a difference for us.
Yeah.
So
it's like we don't charge more for weight. It doesn't matter what size you are, it's the same, because we are making you a mannequin, and that is that is our unit of sale.
As well, like your company this is your mannequin, like for you. And then if you were to be like, but not for you, we're not doing you, you're too whatever, that would be really sad. So I think it's really good that you're embracing that inclusivity in your whole business ethos.
That is true, because it's not only a business and a creative business and something that is our dream and we are making it happen. We have a vision and a mission, and it's so much more than just a business for us. And we feel blessed to have opportunities like making a seated mannequin, being given the chance and the trust and the chance to fail as well, because we didn't know whether we were gonna make it happen. So yeah, I think we feel very lucky. We're very fortunate, and we also want to give back to the community if we can.
Yeah, that's really exciting. And the sewing community is so supportive as well of, like, you know, new things and indie businesses. So I think it's a really good space to work in.
They're phenomenal. It's been really eye-opening going to all the shows and just meeting people, because everyone we speak to, even if they're not interested in product, even if it's not for them, the creative community, it's just a reinvigorating space. You go in, and it doesn't matter that you've been on your feet for like 7 hours, that you've been setting stuff up and carting it around. At the end of the day, you're buzzing, you're exhausted, but you're buzzing.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's really wonderful to just, I don't know, meet these people and work with them.
And it's fun. It's very fun. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just a really fun space to be in. So Thready Stitch Sew says, whereabouts are you based if they decide to get a personal mannequin?
So, well, there are several options. We are based in Banbury, Oxford, and sessions here on a weekly basis. At the moment, we are fully booked up to April. However, we also partner up with other businesses. So we, for example, work with Summit Something in Stratford. We are working with Guthrie and Ghani in Birmingham, So Confident in Glasgow. We go to sewing retreats as well. So you will see us across the country. You will see on our Instagram or website when are we gonna be where. And now we are also offering home visits if it's more or less within 2 hours away from Banbury, or maybe even farther if there are more than one person or two or three wanted to have it scanned done. But the best way is just get in touch with us via our website or Mimiquins at mimiquins.com, and we can always let you know where we're going to be next. As Mia was saying, next Sunday, for example, we're going to be in Ashby de la Sur at the Fabric Boutique. We're going to be celebrating the first year anniversary since they opened the shop. We go now and again every few months to hold scanning sessions there, but we will be going next Sunday in Ashby. So that is one, for example. We're going to be at the NEC in Birmingham. We won't be scanning there. It's more for us to be exhibiting there and showing what we do and how we do it, but we don't hold scanning sessions at the show. You can see us at Alexandra Palace in London. So if you follow us on Instagram or check on our website, now and again you will see more information on where we are. But again, get in touch and we can let you know.
Awesome.
Yeah, it allows people to get a bit hands-on with it and just to lift them up, feel how light they are, feel how pinnable they are, because it's the one thing we can't tell people via an email, and it just helps them to see what it's about.
I forgot to mention also in Wales, we're with Helen Rhiannon and Camille
Studios.
So we have hubs in Wales, Scotland, England. So we are across the country.
Yeah, so that's awesome. So hopefully people will be able to get to you somewhere that's close to them to get their scan done. That's
what we try to do. We try to get to them as well. So it's not only doesn't only depend on them being able to take time off to come to us. So we like having a balance of both, giving the opportunity if we can. Yeah.
Awesome. So shall we talk a little bit about sewing now? Like, what is your favorite thing that you've made with your Mimiquin?
The most recent thing I've sewed is a pillowcase and some cushion covers for my mother-in-law. So that hasn't really done much. We've done sewing tests. I've got mainly sundresses just to get like the draping at the back, I suppose. And I've got some of those, but I've left those upstairs. But yeah, it's been summery stuff because I think it was about a year and a half ago that we started. And then since then, there's not really been a lot of time for sewing. Certainly nothing too kind of creative. We've mainly just been utilitarian. I think Heidi's done more sewing than me, basically, with the school uniforms.
That is true. That is funny because you are the sewer, and I'm doing more sewing than you. But for me, it's more a need.
It kills me a little.
Than,
like I dream about it.
But the funny thing, and this might be a bit strange, but my daughters who are 7 and 9, they have their own Mimiquins.
Oh, that's so
I would
cute.
probably not pay a full price for it if it was in our business, but just experimenting and having fun. We made them for them. So yeah, having used theirs. The last thing we've made is a uniform, and we create together. And I show them what we're gonna do with this, with that, how you want to put it. They know how to use a sewing machine. And
Yeah.
from my eldest's birthday, we went to we had a sewing workshop for several kids, and actually Lauren Tedston, who's there, hi Lauren, she was teaching all the kids how to do it, and it was just fantastic. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But Mia is right, like, since we have our own Mimiquins and the business is going so well, we don't have much time to be that creative, because it's now that we really have to be working non-stop, like at every single hour. But it's great.
I've
We're
got
happy.
patterns that I would love to have a go at, and I've got like way too much fabric. Like, there's fabric here, there's fabric in bags in the loft, like those really big tartan bags, and I
Oh
just
yeah,
have
the
stuff
custom.
folded and put away, and they're itching for the right thing, but it's the time it takes to experiment. Like, I like to do it all in one go. I like to lock myself away like a hermit, and then there's a worried knock on the door at 2, and it's my husband, and he's like, you haven't eaten. And then I turn around with a garment, and I'm like, but look. But there's no hours in the day, and I can't do it piecemeal, because I need to, I
Need
don't
that
know,
focus.
really, yeah, I can't just do a seam here and then put that down, because if I did that seam, I wouldn't stop until it was finished, and then Heide would be like, Mia, what have you been doing? We have
Lauren says you need to all meet up for a sewing day. Lauren can bring
Yeah.
her sewing bee skills of getting a project
Yeah.
finished in a short time.
Yeah,
we need a
Lauren,
class
we
of
are.
that, I think.
I think it's been a few months that I think it's gonna happen in February though, Lauren. We are wanting to make the same coat for the three of us. So yes, that sewing day is happening. It's happening.
Nice. So have you sewn coats before?
I've sewn a couple. I'm not big on tailoring.
No.
I love dresses, bodices, corsets, like skirts, and I love that kind of stuff. But as soon as I think about the structural aspect, so putting in shoulder pads and all the horsehair braid and tacking the layers and really making something special, I've not done that yet, and I find the thought a little daunting. So I'd love to try. Maybe this jacket will kind of ease me in.
Well, it's quite good that you're all thinking of the same pattern, because then you can help each other when you get stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And Lauren always says, "Oh, this is easy." So I'm not scared. If I have Mia and Lauren next to me, it's fine. I'm in good hands.
I'll be scared, but I'll be scared for both of us.
Do you want to talk a little bit about your transition into the sort of sewing sphere out of science? Because I actually did a biochemistry degree as well, Mia.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, yeah, so when I did my degree, I spent most of my degree sewing, which is probably why I was not graduating top in my class. I had sometimes, like, university rooms are not the most spacious, but I would clear like furniture and push things to one side so I could lay the fabric out and cut it, and make really crazy, weird, eclectic dresses, and out of things like my dad's old like jeans, and I would cut stuff up and reassemble it, because your budget is tight, and you're already living on pasta and pesto, so it's like I don't really have a lot for fabric, so everything was charity shop duvets and things like that. So when I left uni, I did get a job in labs, and I worked as a purification biotechnologist for 5.5 years. and I'm very proud of the work that I did there, because we worked for a company that essentially made injectable medicines for people to do clinical trials. And some of the medicines that we made weren't just for clinical trials, they were actually official medicines that were then saving people's lives from septicemia and stuff like that. So it felt like I was making a difference. But I still loved sewing, and I'd stopped sewing for about 3 of those years, and it was not good for my mental health, really. I needed that creative outlet. And I got introduced to someone who had seen my clothes because they had visited my parents' house. And my mum is a Spanish teacher. She'd given a lesson. They all have to, because she teaches adults, you bring something like an article from a newspaper or something to discuss in the lesson, and that day she happened to bring down a dress so they could learn how to say, like, oh, I like the curly bits in Spanish, or it's very blue, or whatever they were going to discuss about it. And this gentleman said, oh, I have a friend who would be very excited to meet your daughter. And one thing led to another, and I ended up volunteering with this designer for about 1.5 years, kind of seeing how things happened behind the scenes. And it's just, sewing at that level is a degree of precision that has to be seen to be believed. The hours that go into a dress that is handmade by people who have insane technical skills. They're just wizards with the sewing machine. I've never seen anything like it. I had to use a domestic sewing machine, and these people were doing millimeter precision on full speed industrial sewing machines and just making works of art, basically. But yeah, so and then I ended up moving to Banbury, and because this was in central London, I think the ticket is about £60. And I was like, I can't afford that. So instead, I just started sewing for myself as like a little private company, a sole trader, and just was doing that when I met Jaire. So it was a bit of a weird journey, but the sewing has always been a need. It's been an impulse. Like I can't imagine myself without sewing. And when I have had to be without sewing, I'm not a very nice person. I'm a very grumpy. It's such a wonderful outlet. And I feel blessed to actually now be working. It's not like that I have to split myself between the sewing world and my normal job.
Yeah, that's awesome. And also, I feel like now, like since the two of you met, like Jaire's kids will have kind of your experience, where they'll be like, I always sewed my whole life. Like my mum was always sewing. I've always known how to sew. So I think that's really amazing that you've like expanded out that legacy.
That's that is funny, because that is true. They don't remember a life without sewing or creating or designing. But also they look up to Mia a lot. So for them, obviously, like I spend more time with Mia with my kids, basically. But they love
or with our husbands, probably.
They love Mia, but actually they say things to me like, Mama, you are very clever. No offense, you're very clever, but Mia, or Mama, you make very nice things, but Mia, everything is Mia. So also when they go to hers, which is also often, they look at her fabrics, her stash, they always come back with things. Like I don't even accumulate things. Whatever I don't use, I give away or I use. But my kids are now having this lovely stash, thanks to me and to everyone else.
Library.
Yes. So yeah, it's very lovely to see, but it is true. And everything that makes them express themselves as little people, and if that comes in the shape of sewing or designing, I'm very happy with that, because it makes them happy and it makes them grow and experiment, and it's very nice. And how they use the sewing machine, it's crazy. It's really crazy. Mhm.
Yeah, it's nice to feel that we're setting a good example, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I let them use the proper scissors for fabric. Like Mia every Christmas gets me like the best tools. That's very nice.
I would
and yeah,
die
now
if I had to use bad scissors, so it was the first thing I got
that's
you.
right. But my kids are allowed to use them, always with care. But I think that it's important that they use the right tools in the right way, and that they are not scared of it. They respect the fact that they are proper tools. But it's very enriching and it's lovely to see. So I'm very proud of that. I wish I had that opportunity as well. I didn't, but I'm happy that they do.
Yeah, I think that's really important as a parent as well, to be able to give your kids those opportunities that you wish that you had. And I think as well, like having proper tools does make a massive difference, because like when I did sewing at school, I just thought it was terrible, and I was like, why does anyone do this like in school lessons? But I think we just had like really bad sewing machines that didn't quite work properly and didn't have proper fabric, and it was all just a bit sad. So I think, having someone who can support you and also like provide the resources and tools to do it properly, it makes it such a different experience.
Yeah,
I really hope that if they are not aware of it now, that I think that in some way they are, that when they grow up, they look back and think, wow.
But I think even if they don't appreciate it now, it like having the right stuff makes it so much easier, which in turn makes it much more enjoyable. So it's not like they'll look back and be like, oh man, sewing, what a pain that was, like hacking through the fabric with a pair of kitchen scissors. It's not
That's
like
right.
they won't never think that. They'll just be like, yeah, sewing's great. Yeah, you just get on with it.
Right. My eldest made a backpack last year for one of her.
Wow.
A backpack. I don't think she would be able to put many things in it because it would break, and she did it by hand, but it was gorgeous. And the teacher said, Alba, this is the best gift I've ever gotten from a kid. This is incredible. And then she had a queue of kids. Oh, can you make me something? And the little one, again, she was making mini pillows for all her friends, mini stockings. They are not perfect, but it's nice that they dare and they are confident in that sense. It means a lot. I think that translates into many other things in life that will be useful for them. So yeah.
Brilliant. Oh, well, let us know in the chat if you've got any more questions for Mia and Hera. We got a question from Claire about different, like, can you do custom, like different body parts, like arms and legs? Or is that something you could consider?
We haven't yet. We've been focusing on getting these. Realistically, for arms, there's so many easy patterns online for making soft arms that we kind of don't feel we need to squeeze into that bit of the market, because if we did make arms, they would be solid, so they're not going to be very useful. And the same with legs. If someone had a specific requirement around, say they were missing most of their arm and had a bit left and they wanted to design around it, then yes, we can work something out. But for the majority of people, there are easier ways to do it.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
They wouldn't need us.
We also allow enough, so we basically go up to, sorry, I see myself in the opposite direction. So we give extra bits, so we take up to a shoulder and a little bit of extra, so you can make the perfect sleeve as well. And we have with the posture in the way that we can take all your circumference around your arm without changing your posture of the shoulder. And allowing all that extra bit that we give you makes it perfect to make sleeves. And then, as Mia says, I'm very sorry. As Mia says, you can easily make sleeves if you have the right posture and that bit of shoulder in here.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the hardest part about sleeves, isn't it? Making sure that the shoulder seam is in the right place.
Yeah, so we always allow it's about an inch from the edge of the shoulder. So you've got just the beginnings of a cap, which although I haven't made a French style jacket, apparently that's a very crucial bit, is kind of smoothing over that. So yeah, we try and make it as useful for as many different sewing techniques as possible, whilst at the same time allowing it to be narrow enough that you can lift clothes off it.
That's right. And then as well for trousers, for example, our Mimiquins are perfect for trouser making because you do get the legs. We do allow a little bit more of a gap in between the legs to be able to access the crotch, and the crotch is your crotch, so it's absolutely perfect. So it's not a pain anymore to be able to make such a garment for yourself.
To get that perfect curve.
Exactly. And then it allows you have to calculate the length basically, but it's perfect for trouser making.
But I guess you could set it up on the post that's the same height as you.
So we do provide the stand, which is not, you cannot adapt it to your height. We do make the mannequin, we make an analysis to make sure that it is balanced. So where we put the poles inside, it comes with 3 poles.
So
One in the middle.
Neutral balance point.
You can show them.
So yeah, we balance it centrally so that you can spin it when you're working on it freely, and that will just go because it's on a neutral balance point. And then each one has both leg holes as well as a central, so you can just rest it. And that will allow you to make your trousers because it will be on one leg or the other. And then, yeah, it just means that you can actually access it. And when you're working on a skirt, a dress, or trousers, you just need to measure from the waist down, and that will be that level measurement all the way around if you're making an alteration.
That's right. So
Brilliant.
because we make them balanced, they can stand on the floor, they can put it on a table if needed. The stand is not adjustable, but it comes with it, and it also standard size. So if you do have
Adjustable.
An adjustable stand, you can use it with it.
You can interchange.
So are you thinking of doing any shows this year?
We're gonna be in Birmingham at the NEC in March. So in 2 months we will be there. Yes.
It's quite fun. It's like our backyard now.
Yeah. But for example, if you're in Scotland, So Confident, Glasgow, they take our Mimiquins as well with them. So if you've been to the knitting and stitching show this winter in 2023, you might have seen one with them because they do take theirs.
Exciting. Well, have you guys got anything else that you want to talk about or show us before we wrap up this episode?
I've got some fabric that I don't know what to do with.
Yeah, go for it.
So I've got this one here that is a lace, but it's really yellowy. And I kind of think maybe Jaire wears a lot of dark greens. And so I'm kind of feeling maybe a dark green needs to go behind it, but I don't know what to go with. I don't know how I'm going to get answers, but it's just shouting out into the void sometimes, because you have that stack of things that you want to do something with and the fabric speaks to you, but there's not really much coming through.
I think that would go very well as a top with a dark green skirt, because of course I do have one.
I should just test it. I don't really have a lot of green. I live in black, but I'm trying to branch out. So when I buy fabrics, I buy crazy colorful fabrics, and then I tend to not make that much. I'll make colorful to go to weddings and things. People maybe get weirded out because I'm not wearing black, or like the only time that year. But yeah, it makes sense to do fun stuff in colors, and then day to day is just very casual and dark.
So have you got quite a colourful stash then?
Yeah, and I buy things and I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them, but then you see them and you think, like, I've picked up some because I thought if we're going to talk stash, then, maybe some bits, and they're also tucked away in cupboards. But like this is
I've full screened you so you can
okay.
show off your fabric.
It's like a lace, but it's a bougainvillea pink, and it clashes with my hair. So I don't think I'm ever going to be able to do anything with it. But I'm not sure it's up Jaire's alley. I don't think
I
you're
suppose
pink.
if you
It's the color it is.
Yeah, it's very kind of purpley pink.
I think it would suit you. It would suit you.
Yeah, but I also don't want to look like a Barbie. Like, I didn't go to any of the Barbie films when they were in the cinema because I didn't want to rock up with pink hair and have someone be like, well, she's taken it a bit far. So so I always feel very pressured into not wearing any pink, just in case I look like a loony.
in case you've overcommitted.
Yeah, people be like, bit much. But yeah, so those are the two things that I don't really know what to do with. But
I love
yeah.
that you know colors, only black, but you do have pink hair. It's a bit contradictory, but I love that.
The pink hair, the only way I can describe my hair is this is the color that my hair should be. I don't know why it doesn't grow pink naturally. It seems very bizarre to me that it doesn't. This is just me correcting it to what it should be. And I went many years with not pink hair, thinking, gosh, I really ought to have pink hair. I don't know why I don't. And then yeah, just took the plunge and haven't looked back. Lockdown was a nightmare.
It's like your identity now. You're like the pink hair girl. So,
but I forget.
It's
Jaire,
very
we picked up a client, and Jaire was like, "Look for the girl with pink hair," because I was like, "How's she gonna know it's us? I have a silver car. How am I gonna make that stand out in a crowd?" And she's like, "Mia, you have pink hair. They're gonna see. Don't worry."
Or when we go to a show and we forget a card or the ID or something like that, but they've seen her already, so they know it's us. They let us come back in. So it's like, me, don't change your hair. I mean, this is like
I won't. But it feels normal now. It's weird that it's not weird. But
awesome.
yeah, I even have Jaire's stash here. Honestly, there's some really lovely things. Yeah, this you have to do something with because it's such a phenomenal color. I mean,
I forgot about that.
Yeah. This is what happens if you have building works and you can't store the stash in your own house. You have to store it at your crazy friend's house. And so now I have bonus Jaire fabric in my house.
That is true.
I mean, look at this.
And the pink one.
And this one's so nice. Again, I'm not going to be wearing it, but it feels like clouds.
I'm gonna be
New Jersey.
Long skirt.
Yeah,
with
but
top.
really soft jersey. So yeah, we need to do something with these before they become like fossilized stash, like my stash.
It's funny. I had forgotten about the one, but I'm very happy. So happy to be thinking I have a new one.
I know.
It's like free fabric now because you already bought it and then forgot about paying for it. So now it's for free.
Yeah. And like doing this chat, I was like, oh, I probably ought to actually look at my stash and check what I've got so that I can answer questions about it. And that's quite a nice journey of rediscovery, just going in and I found some like 3 meters of flip sequin fabric that I forgot about.
Yeah, nice.
Not sure what I'm going to do with that either.
Now you're going to have to throw a party so that you're like, oh no, I have to make a sequin dress now for this party.
Yep, I know. I have to get Lauren to come help me sew it.
Yeah. In high demand, Lauren.
Focused and allow me to do it really quickly.
Brilliant. Oh well, hopefully you get some more time to sew coming up this year, and it's really good to hear all about Mimiquins and like how your business is going so well already. I think it's really inspiring what you've achieved and like bringing really custom dressmaking to all sorts of people. So it's really commendable. Thanks so much for joining me.
That's okay. It's our pleasure.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank
Yeah, and
you.
it was really good to hear about your sewing journeys as well and your sewing friendship. I think it's always so nice to hear about whole like businesses that have just blossomed out of the sewing community.
It's true. I agree. It's my
But yeah, thank you everyone who joined us live as well and said your comments and questions in the chat. It was really nice to hear from you all. This episode is gonna be on YouTube as well to catch up if anyone missed bits of it. So yeah, thank you for joining everyone, and I'll be back next week, so 8 p.m. next Wednesday, with Rachel from Rach Stitched Up to talk about another fabric stash and sewing journey. So thank you everyone, and goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you for having us.